Good evening. Today is May 9th, 2023. The time is now 5:32 p.m. And this meeting of Georgetown County Council is being called to order. I see that we do have a quorum, and we welcome all of you here to our meeting. We ask Councilor Carolina to give us the invocation and to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
We come together this day asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Continue to allow us to grow closer as a group in nurturing the bonds of our communities. Guide us with your grace as we make decisions that will affect the citizens, businesses, environment, and the future of Georgetown County. Put within us revitalized energy of progress as we move forward in 2023. Continue to remind us that all we do as stewards over the land is for the greater glory of you in service of humanity and progress for Georgetown County. Our prayers also go out to Allen, Texas, for the recent loss of lives that have touched their community and is continuing to affect our country with these mass killings. Prayers also go out to Mr. Ashley Williams and his loss of his business by fire in the town of Andrews this morning. Our prayers for his recovery. Continued peace and blessings to all in our county, state, and country. In your holy name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Carolina. Let's move down to the approval of our agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda as published?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilor Carolina. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Oppose? Motion carries. We move down to special reports and presentations. And tonight we have our nonprofit spotlight from Riverside Behavior and Learning Collaborative. We have Marcy Call. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. We're going to start with the video to begin with. Thank you for having me this afternoon. It's very exciting to be able to share this new nonprofit, so to speak, as of January 1 with you all. I've been in the position for about 4.5 months now, and it has been absolutely exciting to see this collaborative at work, to see the therapists, to see the community, to see the children and their families start to get better and start to heal and start to see improvements. And there is a trust and there's something magical that happens when they enter our building and when they leave until they come back again. And so at this point in time, I would like to entertain any questions that you all may have.
Are there any questions from council?
Yes, I have one. Ms. Marcy, how are you funded?
We are funded, we just got through with our Palmetto Giving Day. And so we are mainly funded, well, we are funded by donations and contributions, or I guess that's the church word for it, but donations and giving from the outside. RBLC, we have 7 therapists. They each own their own business. So while they own their own business and take different insurances, RBLC is the umbrella in which they are located. And so as a collaborative and as RBLC, we provide the community events, the educational pieces, helping children that can't afford or their insurance doesn't pay for evaluations to help in those sorts of areas. And so we're strictly funded by donations as a nonprofit.
Does it seem to satisfy your budget for the year? I know you can always use more.
Yes, sir. We did not, we have not met our budget yet of this year, but you know, we're experiencing those growing pains as we go along. And so we're being careful as to where, you know, we can cut or what we can do here and what we can do there so that we can keep going along. Hopefully, sooner than later, more and more people within our community and within the state will know more about us. And so they will want to inquire and therefore want to give back monetarily if they can, if not, hopefully volunteering.
How, one more question.
Sure.
And I'll leave you alone.
No, that's fine.
How many school-age children do y'all service?
Sure. Since 2020, we have seen over 600 children, ages 3 to 18. And currently, we have probably close to 100 or 110 children and adults right now that are actively on therapist schedules. And so that, and obviously that changes every week or when they're discharged or that sort of thing. But hopefully this summer, we're planning on some group therapy kinds of things for more children to be able to come in to do those types of things as well. So it just kind of depends on the year. But since 2020, a little over 600, almost 700.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Question also, piggybacking off of Counselor. You're working integrally with the school district. Have they invited you in? And also the same with the Drug and Alcohol Commission here, and possibly even with the Sheriff's Department with any inmates that are having any challenges?
Sure. We have not, to address the inmates piece first, we have not addressed that. There has been a question before I came regarding that. Because our main focus is on children and families at the moment, we have not addressed the whole inmate situation as of yet. There is very much a need. We're just trying to figure out how that may work with having children present all throughout the day, that sort of thing. So it is not out of the question, but as of currently, we don't have anything going on with that at the moment. The school district, different schools, we have, many of our care providers have clients within the schools, and our care providers will actually go to the schools to have IEP meetings, to have the 504 meetings, that sort of thing. And so the schools know that we are here, and that's been wonderful. Healthy Learners that is housed at the Beck Center. Aixa Rodriguez is also on our board. And so between the wonderful board that we have and her being actually at the Beck Center, they are they're getting more and more familiar, I should say, with us. And then there was a third one you had asked.
Drug and Alcohol Commission.
I have met that gentleman, and we have talked that we need to get together because we have a fabulous, one of our counselors specifically hones in on substance abuse therapy, and she's fantastic. And so we have talked, and that we need to figure out how we can collaborate with one another.
Okay, very good.
Any additional questions from council? Ms. Marcy Clark? Let me ask you about the enrollment. How does one enroll into your program?
I'm sorry.
How does one enroll into your program?
Sure. Parents are welcome to do self-referrals. Also, we take referrals from all sorts of doctors, pediatricians, we have speech and occupational therapy, which we also get referrals from pediatricians for that as well. So either from the pediatricians or parents can call if they are worried about whether or not their child might be on the autistic spectrum or autism spectrum. They can call and do a self-referral as well. Each counselor takes different insurances, but between the 7 of them, somebody will get the help that they need to get. It just depends on which counselor for medical or for insurance reasons. And if they don't, there are some that are able to private pay, and those are far and few between, but that is also an option as well.
So the cost basically comes from the insurance of the persons?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If someone wants to enroll and it does not have any type of insurance, is there any assistance for those individuals?
Yes, sir. And in fact, there are pro bono cases that all of our counselors take throughout the year, throughout the season. And just depending on where they are in that, we like to share with folks that being that we are a collaborative and that we are all under one roof, as best they can, they like to be able to give back to the collaborative at least 10%. It may be 8, just depending on the year, that sort of thing. But in being good stewards of the facility and everything that we have, they try to give back at least 10%, as to whether it's counseling or evaluations or community events, that sort of thing.
Okay.
One other
Thank you.
question.
Yes.
Ms. Marcy, do y'all have a board of directors?
We do. We have 10 members on our board. Dr. Michelle Steffen and Dr. Jonathan Elias are the co-founders of Riverside Behavior Learning Collaborative. Michelle is the chairman, John is the treasurer. Amy Condon, Wendy Walsh, Dr. Leslie Besselou, Melody Skipper, Rhonda Bryant Sawyer, Aixa Rodriguez, and Jason Bone, and Joshua Fleming.
Good memory.
Thank you. And they are a wonderful, hardworking board. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. If there are no additional questions or comments from Ms. Carl, thank you for the service you provide. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. You have a green ribbon there for you. May is the month of mental health awareness. So as you all feel led, it doesn't have to be just the month of May. Feel free to wear that in support of mental and developmental health. So thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. We move down to our presentation of the Employee of the Quarter. So we have our director here, Mr. Ackerman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And y'all forgive me, Sandra Carter, we're presenting the Employee of the Quarter Award tonight. So forgive me if I messed it up a little bit. I just looked at my notes that I printed, and it actually printed in a foreign language backwards, of all things. So I'm going to do my best, and hopefully Sandra won't be too mad at me. So if you would like to, you can either sit or you can stand. The choice is yours. Sandra's not a limelight type of person. She is recognized for this award, and Director Richardson gave the presentation, and she was much more eloquent than I will be. But as she put it, Sandra is a sort of an in the background type of person. She's the backbone of the department that just stays in the background, keeps everybody else going, keeps them on track, makes sure they're doing the right thing. But because she's only been here for a mere 38 years, she has a lot of knowledge that is stored, a lot of that institutional knowledge. She began in the permitting department with a typewriter. And now she's moved on through several different software systems and all this stuff, learned it all with ease. And as we knew she would, she's now our resident expert on our latest permitting software. So every time somebody has a problem, they say, Sandra, can you figure this out for me? She'll leave me alone and I'll get it taken care of, is how she handles things. But the work that she does to keep the whole process moving, and her role as support staff in that department allows everybody else to go out and do the visible work, the work that we see out in the field, the inspectors out on site. You know, she takes care of all the routine daily tasks for them so that they can go out and focus on that field work that directly impacts the customer. But all of that knowledge that she has and her meticulous nature, recently, we've actually, I want to say caught, but we have determined that we had a couple of contractors that were actually faking building permits, certificates of occupancy. And when it came up, Sandra looked at it and said, oh, that's a fake. There's a typo on that, and I fixed it 4 years ago, and the current one doesn't have it. Let me go show you what the new one looks like. So she was instrumental in catching those people that were doing a disservice to our citizens. So for all of her work in keeping that department running smoothly as it does, we are recognizing Sandra Carter as Employee of the Quarter for this quarter. So congratulations. Now, I prepped her before to let her know that we would like her to come take a picture. She's still not jumping up to go get that picture, I see, but we're going to ask if she will to go and get a photograph with the chairman. Thank you, Ms. Sandra. Escape.
Okay. We'll continue with our wonderful and innovative employees. We have the Innovation Award presentation. Georgetown County is filled with wonderful and innovative employees. So, Mr. Ackerman, you can tell us a little about it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So our Employee of the Quarter Award, as it sounds, is given once a quarter. This award is an award given as it comes up, as special recognition is warranted for our employees. And this month, we recognize a firefighter EMT from our County Fire and EMS Department, Mr. Tristan Scoville. Now, he was and I'm going to ask him to come on up while I speak, or maybe he doesn't want to either. We have a lot of shy people tonight. So Tristan was the brain trust and the lead role behind this effort but he sort of voluntold a lot of other people and got help when needed. And if he saw somebody sitting around, he's like, no, come on, let's swing this hammer and run this saw. What he did, he had the idea that he looked around and he saw a problem and he found a solution for it. So at our headquarters station, which is out on 521 going towards Andrews, that's our most heavily staffed station. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of stuff that comes with having firefighters and the EMTs and paramedics on board, a lot of gear. So Tristan noticed that all the gear that was stored, because you got 3 shifts in the same station and people are there all the time, and they were storing them in bags. And he said, well, this is just a lot of clutter. It's a tripping hazard. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then on top of that, you have the added problem of, let's say they go on a call and it's right before shift end, and because they work a 24-hour shift, and their gear doesn't get time to get cleaned, or it's a little bit damp, and then you stuff it in a bag and you leave it for 2 days until you come back on shift, it can create a lot of problems. It sits there, soaks in carcinogens, it could get moldy, could get mildewed. So in order to solve that problem, Tristan got looking around and said, well, what can we do? Well, they make these racking systems for firefighter gear, and they are crazy expensive. He says, well, we don't have that kind of money, so he went to his command staff and said, look, if y'all give me a little bit of money, I got the skills, I'll make this thing happen, and I'll build these for us at the station. And he did, drafted his support, and they got them. They look fantastic. There's actually a picture in your packet if you had a chance to look at it. He's a lot more skilled carpenter than I ever thought about being. So the department has loved it so well. It's worked so great. They're going to eventually expand all this into all of the fully manned stations, so that all the crews have a place to hang their stuff, and then possibly spread it out from there. But we want to recognize him for the great idea he's had, for the innovation that it took to make this happen, and the entire team. And I'm going to name a few other people. Ronald Smith, Robert Strickland, Travis Brown, and AC Taylor were all very instrumental in making this project come together. But it was, as I said, the brainchild of firefighter EMT Scoville here. So we want to recognize him and present him with the Innovation Award. So thank you very much.
Photographed man in Georgetown County. Most photographed man in Georgetown County. We've already figured.
We'll continue with our special reports, and now we'll move on down to annual tourism marketing budget for fiscal year '24. Ms. Stedman from our Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight, Mr. Chairman, members of council, and Madam Administrator. We're especially happy to be here because we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Travel and Tourism Week. We know in South Carolina, and I believe Mr. Stevens put some information for you on your desk, Tourism in South Carolina is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And in Georgetown County, it is a multi-million-dollar industry, and it fuels economic growth. In fact, we've seen the state portion of our accommodations tax in Georgetown County increase by over 125% in the past decade. That's due to a lot of investment, a lot of hard work by people ranging from hoteliers to cooks to chefs to housekeepers, so that we can present a wonderful experience for people who are traveling into our community. We also want to invite you to attend our Tourism Management Commission meetings. These are public meetings. And anytime you have questions, we're certainly more than happy to address those and answer those. At this time, I'm going to introduce to you Mark Stevens, who's the Director of Tourism Development for South Carolina's Hammock Coast.
Thank you, Beth. I have to say that the speeches for the employee awards, he said his printer printed out in a foreign language and backward. I'm going to use that every time I speak now. He's already used it, so I can't have an excuse. If I mess up, it's just me. You'll just know that. But Beth and I, again, we want to thank you. We always appreciate you allowing us to come and speak to you. Again, we did provide you with some details about marketing for South Carolina's Hammock Coast, which of course is Georgetown County's tourism moniker. So you have details. We, of course, will be happy to answer any of those questions. But we want to thank you. We want to thank the community. And of course, we're supported by the Tourism Management Commission, which of course is appointed by council, but we work closely with them again. Those meetings are public. You're invited to those, as is the community. Those are held every other month. Our next meeting is the fourth Thursday of this month, so it's available for you to come. It will be at the Litchfield Visitor Center for the Georgetown County Chamber of Commerce office. As Beth said, yesterday we kicked off National Tourism Week. We actually were invited to an event at the Governor's Mansion. Governor and First Lady McMaster invited tourism folks from all over the state, and he did. He charged us with going back to our communities and talking about how important tourism. The little card that you have, that is from the governor's office and South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. Again, as Beth mentioned, $29 billion comes through South Carolina because of tourism. That's with a B, $29 billion. So very important. And I think, the governor said, make sure you go back and talk to your communities. But we know that you know how important tourism is to Georgetown County. And some details I wanted to highlight. So I don't think a lot of people sometimes know this, but Georgetown County is the 6th top in the state for tax revenue. We're only behind Horry County, Charleston County, Beaufort County, Greenville, and Richland County. 6th in the state. So very important for tax accommodations tax rather. Another thing that I left with you is a little detail from Southern Living. In Southern Living's March issue, which is its annual best of issue, this is the first time that a national publication has used the moniker of Georgetown County. South Carolina's Hammock Coast was used in editorial copy twice. This is not something we bought. This is not something our PR people called them up. This was the brand taking hold and being used in a national publication. It was actually in the issue twice. And you see one of the quotes, South Carolina's Hammock Coast is known for its rich history, generous hospitality, and natural low country beauty. You'll have plenty to write home about no matter what you get into. And there were several accolades in that issue about this county. Georgetown named one of the South's best 50 towns. Georgetown named one of the South's best tiniest towns. Huntington Beach State Park named the best state park in South Carolina. Brook Green Gardens named the best garden in South Carolina. And as well, we had and other issues in an online, two Georgetown County restaurants listed as some of the best in South Carolina, the best seafood at Lee's Inlet Kitchen in Murrells Inlet, and one of the best restaurants you can go to, Frank's in Pawleys Island. That, again, was from Southern Living. That is not something we purchased in an ad. That's editorial copy. So we wanted to make you aware of that if you didn't know about that. Some of the other things, this is the state's official vacation guide for Discover South Carolina. What you see on the back cover is our ad for South Carolina's Hammock Coast. So everybody who picks this up, it's in every welcome center in the state. It can be ordered online, just like our Hammock Coast vacation guide. But Hammock Coast is big there on the back. Some good news I wanted to make sure you're aware of. This is the latest state ATAX numbers that just were released. They're always 2 or 3 months behind, but February's numbers were just released. Georgetown County up 5% year over year. So, we had about 24 months where we were setting record-setting numbers. So that 5% is year over year of an already record-setting month. So we're hoping that summer's going to be great, that we'll be at 100% capacity, and we're getting good comments from our accommodations partners. And we're just happy to be here. We're just happy to bring people here on vacation and tourists and all the things that they do for us. And it means a lot to us for your support and the community's support. That's it. It wasn't in foreign language and it wasn't backward. I'm sorry if you could, how bad it was. If you have any questions for Beth or for me, I know you have our budget in front of you that was sent to you, approved by the the Tourism Management Commission.
Sure. So thank you. Any questions for Chamber Council?
I have a statement.
Sure.
I'd like to thank Mark and Beth for all the hard work you guys do. I see the many emails and the time that you spend in this, and we appreciate all you do for Georgetown County.
It's a wonderful job to be able to promote this county and tell people to come and enjoy all of the wonderful things that are here.
Thank you again. We move down to public comments.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Council will need to vote to approve that budget, please.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. The Chamber of Commerce has, the Chamber of Commerce budget is included within our meeting materials. And is there a motion, you'll have had a chance to review that particular budget, have you not? So is there a motion for the approval of the Georgetown County Chamber of Commerce budget, draft budget really is what it is. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
It's moved by Councilman Newton for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we move on down to our public comments. A public comment period is included on each meeting agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. No speaker may yield her allotted time to another speaker. Members of the public who wish to address council during the public input period should sign up with the clerk of council before the meeting is called to order. And we ask that you please look at the timer on the screen because you have a timer which will let you know when your 3 minutes is expiring. And we ask that you conclude your comments at the end of that particular time. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone sign up for public comments this evening?
Yes, sir, we do have 6 speakers signed up tonight. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes, as you previously stated, and their time will be indicated on the screen. Our
Thank you.
first speaker will be Ms. Jennifer Hunt.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Hunt, and I'm in Andrews. And I would like to ask for you to please bring EMS back to Andrews. The closest one that we have right now is at Big Dam, and if that's busy, then we have 9 Mile Curve. And it makes for an extended response time when help is needed. If you would please consider bringing back EMS, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, could you please have the demolition of the old Andrews building to please be completed? It's a bit of an eyesore and a little bit dangerous, I would say. And lastly, I don't come up here to fuss and complain. And none of us get up every morning that come to these meetings. We don't want to waste your time. We really are affected by these changes. And we had a large structure fire in Andrews this morning. 2 businesses were lost. And just please think of the people of Andrews whenever you make a decision. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, before I forget, lastly, the Andrews Library is having Charleston City Stage, Treasure Island. It's coming up the 13th of May, and it's at 5:30. And it will be a good show. And it will have food trucks, and it will be a very good show. So I encourage you to please come. It is at 5:30, and the address of Andrews Library is 105 North Morgan. Thank you.
Eddie Lee.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and County Councilman. I want to first recognize y'all County Councilman. His name is Mr. Raymond Newton. Raymond Newton lives in Annis. Raymond Newton had a business in Annis that was supported by the people of Annis. Raymond Newton went to school in Annis. Raymond Newton is now solid when it comes down to the needs and safety of the citizen in reference to the EMS services and the removal of the old wreck building. The First Amendment allows me to criticize and lead our leader. If it's quack like a duck, walk like a duck, it's a duck. And I don't think Mr. Raymond Newton's position on Georgetown County is sustainable. Thank you.
Mayor Frank McCleary. Okay. Martin Mays.
Well, my name is Martin Mason from Andrews. County Council voted to proceed with the contract last month for the proper demolition of the recreation center. Is there a time limit or process that we can have? Will the county schedule a court date for the remainder of the capital project sales tax fund court case soon? It's been delayed since January 2022. Has the county devised a plan to have EMS housed in the town of Andrews? Sure would like to have answers to those questions. Thank you very much.
Jerome Johnson.
Councilman and visitors. I'm a resident of, first of all, my name is Jerome Johnson, resident of Georgetown County for 77 years, citizen of Andrews Town. And it's sad to have to come over here time after time to try to encourage the county council to reach out to Andrews with some love sometime. You know, we ain't coming here bickering, but I'll be wanting some support for him. I don't like to be calling names or anything, but if it's your will, try to get that demolition building taken down. I see that you have on the agenda 9-seater the light for MLK. Appreciate that. But we just asking to help us. Thank you.
Tom Martin.
My name's Tom Martin. I live in North Litchfield Beach. And I moved down here 2.5 years ago during early COVID and thought about ways that I could contribute. I just fell in love with the beauty of this area. And I started picking up trash on the highway up in Huntington Beach State Park, through our community, and then from, down by the Georgetown bridges, all the way up to Hog Heaven. We have adopted a 6-mile stretch out every couple of months. We've been in those ditches, deep into those ditches, cleaning them out. But we don't want them to fill back up again. We have another activity on March 21st. We're out Sunday morning at 7 o'clock when the traffic's light. We get on the highway and off. We would love to have a variable message board if you have one available, just to alert traffic, try to get them to slow down. Sheriff Carter Weaver's been helpful, having a detective out there, a deputy out there with the car slowing down traffic. Maureen Mulligan from Environmental Services is wonderful. So we've gotten good support. And I'm not an environmentalist. I'm a 40-year government employee, accounting, finance, up in the state of New Hampshire, and respect the government function. I am concerned about the environment, just kind of naturally gravitated towards it. And I heard those tourist officials talk about the natural low country beauty, right? Which we're all proud of, and we want to preserve that. And I've been concerned about trees and the clearing of trees. And just today, behind my house on Litchfield Landing, you know, just north of Hansher House, Litchfield by the Sea, just north there, beautiful, majestic oak tree, 4 feet wide, on an undeveloped lot. You pull into Litchfield Landing, the road curves around to get to the back. You know why the road curves? To save those trees. 9:30 today, a tree came down right in the middle of that lot. It's tucked back in there. Talked to Councilor Ricardo about it. Thank you for being responsive. I called the zoning department. The code enforcement officer was out there immediately. $500 fine. Kept working, right? Why a cease and desist order wasn't issued is beyond me. This just keeps happening. So I think about low country beauty. I think about tone at the top of the organizations here and how it funnels down through administrators, through staff, to developers, to employees. You know, what more could be done? That fine's going to be increased immediately. I don't know if $10,000 is the amount, but it's just a cost of doing business. And it's embarrassing that this just keeps happening. So I'm see what also on other environmental functions, that tone at the top, whether it's banning the bags at grocery stores, because we pick a lot of bags. Impervious surfaces east of 17. Why we have small houses get torn down, that's fine. Big houses built, right? And then we pave concrete all the way around both sides. So I would, you know, during Hurricane Ian, water came up.
Mr. Martin, will you conclude your comments, please?
I am. So we would just like for the council to set maybe a stronger tone on the environmental issues and keep this natural low country beauty intact. Thank you.
That is our final speaker for tonight.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We move on down to item 7 on our agenda, public hearings. On ordinance number 23-13, an ordinance to amend the Georgetown County Land Development Regulations, Article 1, Section 17, Article 2, Section 4, Article 6, definitions, and Appendix B, to amend the text of plating actions for a family subdivision. The public hearing regarding ordinance number 23-13 is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak regarding that particular ordinance? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. And we will move on down to appointments to boards and commissions. I think we have several appointments this evening. We have an appointment to the Airport Commission, Councilor Elliott.
Yes, sir. I'd like to reappoint Peter Horn to the Georgetown Airport Commission, please.
There's a motion from Councilor Elliott to reappoint Peter Horn to the Georgetown County Airport Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And we have an appointment to the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Commission, Councilor Elliott.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make the motion we appoint Pat Malloy Fancher for the Drug Abuse Commission.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilor Elliott for Pat Malloy Fancher for reappointment to the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. The Library Board, Councilor Elliott.
So I'd like to nominate Miss Nancy Seo for the library, Georgetown County Library Board.
We have a motion for the nomination of Nancy Seal to the Georgetown County Library Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? And motion carries. We'll give Councilor Elliott a break. Councilor Anderson, Library Board.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we reappoint Rebecca Searon Martin to continue her service on the library board.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilor Anderson for reappointment of Rebecca Searon Martin to the Library Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado's. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Councilor Carolina.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Mrs. Clarice McKnight for an additional term on the library board.
With a motion from Councilor Carolina for reappointment of Clarice McKnight to the Library Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll go down to the Zoning Board of Appeals now. We'll go back to you, Councilor Elliott.
Yes, sir. Council, I would like to make a motion to appoint Kenneth W. Reed Jr. to fill the seat on the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilor Elliott for the appointment of Kenneth W. Reed Jr. to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll go down to Councilor Bob Anderson for appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Marty Farrell to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
We have a motion by Councilor Anderson for reappointment of Martin Farrell to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations to all of the appointees. Let's move on down to our resolution and proclamations. Proclamation number 23-13. We have our Emergency Service Director, Mr. Ellis.
Good evening, Mr. Morant, members of council. I'm here this evening, as you mentioned, Proclamation 2313 recognizes EMS Week, Emergency Medical Services Week, is May 21st through the 27th. This is a nationally recognized initiative intended to recognize the values and accomplishments of our EMS personnel who work tirelessly day in and day out, regardless of what they face in the field, outside influences, anything that may come their way. I'm joined this evening by members of Georgetown County Fire EMS as well as Midway Fire Rescue. And we just, again, we want to seek your approval for this proclamation so we can recognize the hard work of these pre-hospital care professionals that we have that work for us day in and day out. Subject to any questions you might have, I will forego reading the lengthy proclamation unless you would so desire.
No, there we go. Any questions for our Emergency Service Director on proclamation number 23-12? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption of the proclamation 23-12?
So moved.
It's moved by Councilor Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Okay, now we move down to proclamation number 23-13 in recognition of National Safe Boating Week. You have Ms. Roach.
Before we do
Oh, you
that,
have
can
to-
we get the picture and all that good stuff, sir? I know you want to roll.
I wasn't interrupted. I wasn't going to talk.
Now we go down to proclamation number 23-13 in recognition of National Safe Boating Week. Ms. Roach.
Council members, for nearly 100 million Americans, including South Carolinians, boating continues to be a popular recreational activity. Georgetown County is surrounded by 5 rivers, as you know, which are enjoyed by our residents and visitors year-round, spending time together boating, sailing, paddling, and fishing. During National Safe Boating Week, the U.S. Coast Guard and its federal, state, and local safe boating partners encourage all boaters to explore and enjoy America's beautiful waters responsibly. National Safe Boating Week is observed at the start of each season to bring attention to important life-saving tips for recreational boaters, so they may have safer, more fun experiences on the water throughout the year. Sir, we would ask you to approve this, and if you do, we would ask for one more photo opportunity, please. I think we have some members of the Coast Guard here.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Roach? If not, is there a motion for adoption of proclamation number 23-13?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Congratulations.
I have a question. You gentlemen part of the Power Squadron?
No, we're not.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
We're part of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, formed in 1938 as the Coast Guard Reserve, and we support the Coast Guard in all of its missions except for law enforcement and military. They don't trust us old guys with guns. But our main job in supporting the Coast Guard is recreational boating safety. There are approximately 18 million private recreational boats in the U.S. We lose about 800 people a year due to completely preventable accidents. So our job is to try to push and foster safe boating. We do it through boating education. We also do free, and I want to emphasize free, boating safety exams. We do boating safety checks, vessel safety checks, where we go to the boat owner, we inspect all their safety equipment and make sure that when they go out, they'll be safe on the water and have a fun day and get to come home safely. We also support the Coast Guard directly in, like I said, almost every mission they do. Some of us we have, our flotilla is the Georgetown flotilla, so we meet at Coast Guard Station Georgetown, and we support them directly. We have some people that sit radio watches. Some of us are qualified to do commercial vessel inspections. Also, pollution responders, we want to keep our waters clean and safe for everybody. So we investigate and try to remediate any pollution in our waters, and sometimes down in Georgetown. So people report them, comes to us, and we'll go investigate, try to find the responsible party, and have it remediated. So we're here supporting the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is the smallest of our military forces. We're about 20,000 strong throughout the U.S. We used to be around 39,000 strong, and we're always looking for new members. Our members can only do what we're specifically trained and authorized to do, and it's safe boating message is what we're all about. I have with me Scott Lanford. He's my vice flotilla commander. I'm the flotilla commander. Oliver Leinbach is our human resources person and our public affairs, and he's the one to help arrange this event. We're about 18 members in our flotilla. There's a second flotilla that's up in Surfside Beach, and they've got about 40 members. So that's about what we do. Any questions, sir?
Well, thank you, and God bless you for what you do.
One, two, three, one more.
We'll move on down to resolution number 23-14. I'm requesting the South Carolina Department of Highways and Public Transportation to place a traffic signal at the intersection of SC 16, Seaboard Road, and US 41 bypass, also highway bypass. The resolution is included within our package. You'll have had the opportunity to review it. Is there a motion for adoption of resolution number 23-14?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the adoption of Resolution 2314 to go forth to the South Carolina Department of Highways and Public Transportation requesting a traffic signal at the intersection of Highway 41 bypass or County Line Road and Martin Luther King Avenue.
We have a motion by Councilman Carolina for adoption of resolution number 23-14. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Newton, I'm sorry. Councilman Newton. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on down to third reading of ordinances. Ordinance number 23-13. An ordinance to amend the Georgetown County Land Development Regulations, Article 1, Section 17, Article 2, Section 4, Article 6, Definitions, and Appendix B to amend the text of plotting actions for a family subdivision. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you said, this relates to family subdivisions. This is a text change to the land development regs for Georgetown County. And in summary, this adds a provision for being able to plat and subdivide family-owned property as defined in the ordinance between family members only, if it's a minor subdivision, which is 10 lots or less, and if those lots exceed 1 acre in size. We have not had any changes to this proposal since second reading. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval at their meeting in March, and we received no opposition at the public hearing. I'll be glad to answer any more questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Any questions for Ms. Richardson?
I have a comment. Ms. Holly, how long have you been working on this?
6 months maybe or so.
I'm thinking 6 months to a year. She's worked really hard on this, and it's important to a lot of people. So Thanks for all your work.
I appreciate that. We've had some input from the county attorney, of course, and the assessor's office. Matt and my department actually worked on the text at the end of the process. So we've had, and surveyors as well, we've had input from a wide variety of people on this one. Stormwater, Public Works.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion pertaining to ordinance number 23-13?
So moved.
It's moved for approval of ordinance number 23-13 by Councilman Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Richardson. We move on down to second reading of ordinances. Ordinance number 23-15, an ordinance revising and amending ordinance number 2021-05 to reallocate capital sales tax revenues for community projects. We'll hear from our attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. This is goes back to the capital sales project that there was a second amendment to that to reallocate some funds. One of the projects that was designated at that time was not pursued, and my understanding is not going to be pursued. So those funds are being reallocated for another project, recreational project. And the project is one that is authorized under the statute.
Thank you. Any questions for Attorney Watson?
I have a question. Was this to take care of we're going to use this money for a water sewer project? Is this the one? Is this something different?
It was initially slated for water and sewer project, but the community didn't accept the project.
But this is like $350K or something that's going to be,
No, I think it's 289.
89.
how much?
289.
Oh, well, that's close enough. Well, my point is that we originally, out of this money, when you first came on board, you gave each of the councilors $7 million. And then we came back and did some water and sewer work for about $4 million. Is that correct? There was the second part of the expenditure was about, going back from what I read the other day. So we had about, that's about 11 million of the 14 million, or 12.5 million. So this was out of leftover from the 1.5 that was available.
I think what it was, I think there were $7 million that were allocated amongst the 7 council persons, and each council person was allocated $1 million.
That's correct, and that was the 7 million, and then there were 4 million that I think went to some kind of water and sewer projects.
There were 2 million for the fire project with
Yeah,
water and sewer.
okay, right, and then so we were left basically out of the 12.5 with $1.5 million, and we just put the 2, whatever it was. My point is I'd just like to see us spend the rest of that money on water and sewer projects. That would be my wish, that we do that with whatever money's left over.
I think what it is, this particular funding here comes from the allocation from the individual council member. That's what it is. But each council member was allocated $1 million out of to be spent.
Oh, okay. So this was
part of that.
That was part of
allocation.
the 7 million portion.
Exactly. It was part of the
Okay.
individual allocation.
So we've still got 1.5 million then left of the 12.5. And I'm just talking about round numbers. My point is, whatever money's left out of that 12.5 million, I would like it to see it go towards water and sewer projects over here also. That's my point.
Okay.
So the 289 is your District 7 left over from the 1 million?
Exactly.
You know, just one of your projects didn't go through?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right. Okay.
I think I've just confused everybody. That was my only point, was of the 12.5 million that we had started with, that was the big number. Whatever we got left, I'd like to see it go towards water and sewer projects over here, if that's possible. Just something to think about. That's not I'd just like you to consider that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
As for clarification, it was earmarked $1.6 million that was going to go to sewer at one time for Jessamine Street,
That's ARPA money.
ARPA money.
Yeah.
And the same for the 2 million going up 701,
That's ARPA
ARPA
money.
money also. Okay.
Different different pot of money.
Yes, just
Different pot of.
want to
Thank you.
bring it out.
Okay, any additional questions for Attorney Watson? Okay, not seeing, is there a motion for adoption of ordinance number 23-15?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, moved by Councilman Newton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Okay, we need to have a motion to amend to incorporate the ordinance text since it was revised. Is there a motion to amend?
Motion to amend.
Okay, you have a motion to amend by Councilman Newton. Is there a second on the motion to amend?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mercado. Now we'll vote on the amended motion. Any discussion regarding it? The amended motion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go back to the original motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I didn't call for a discussion, but was there any discussion? Maybe a little late for that on the main motion. Okay, motion carries. Let's move down to, thank you all. Let's moving down to ordinance number 23-16. Attorney Watson.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, this is ordinance to amend and approve, well, to authorize and approve an amended and restated agreement for a joint industrial business park between Georgetown and Horry. The amendment is to increase the footprint, the property that comprises the park. They're adding some land to it. This is an agreement that has been in place between Georgetown and Horry for quite some time, I think, and they're simply just changing the description of the real estate.
Thank you. Any questions for Attorney Watson regarding ordinance number 23-16? No, seeing none. Is there a motion for approval of ordinance number 23-16?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Mercado. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We move down to ordinance number 23-17. Attorney Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a new joint industrial and business park agreement between Georgetown County and Horry County. It will be located within Horry County. We will simply be joining with them as partners in that and be receiving a portion of the revenues generated by it, but the park itself and the expenses and burdens of that will be on Horry County.
Any questions from council to Attorney Watson regarding ordinance number 23-17? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval of ordinance number 23-17?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Elliott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move down to first reading of ordinances, which will be read into the record only. Ordinance number 23-18, an amendment to Article 6, requirements by district, and Section 607 of the zoning ordinance dealing with two-family and multifamily development site plan reviews. Ordinance number 23-19, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 23 operating budget of Georgetown County. Ordinance number 23-20, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2014-44 pertaining to the Stormwater Management Program, Stormwater Design Manual relating to the review fee schedule. We'll move down to, so we have no reports to council. If I could just call upon Madam Administrator, I don't want to put you on the spot right quickly as far as reports to council. Can you just give us a brief timeline regarding the projects in Andrews, the demolition project?
Yes. That project has, we have been in contact with the contractor for that project. They have put up some fencing. They basically have, I think the start date off the top of my head is May 15th. From May 15th, they have 20 days to complete the demolition of that project. We're continuing to make safety changes, we're actually going to close a kind of alley or road that goes straight by that project to try to safeguard for safety reasons, keep kids away, keep people away. It has been posted as we are required to do, but we're going to move, believe me, as quickly as we can to make sure that building comes down as it should be, meeting all the regulations and rules that need to be in place for the demolition of that building. We are currently going through the notification process that we are required to do. That's why the date is not until May 15th before they actually can start knocking it down.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the timeline. We're moving down to our approval of minutes. Our regular council meeting minutes of April 25th, 2023. Is there a recommendation for adoption of those minutes?
So moved.
It's moved by Councilor Elliott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Carolina. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Thanks, motion carries. Is there any further business coming before council? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Mercado in Carolina. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Elliott. All in favor? Please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. We now stand adjourned.